Today, let's talk about why all lives matter is not a good response. Using all lives matter as a response in an argument to Black Lives Matter doesn't make sense. If all lives matter, then Black lives do indeed matter, correct? Or what if your grandparent is on a slow decline due to, dementia? Just as traumatizing and traumatic for the family as someone dying from cancer, right? If I said that Louis Vuitton was an amazing luxury brand, which I don't believe, that doesn't mean that Tom Ford and Gucci aren't also amazing luxury brands, right? I'm not saying that I support any of those, but just an example. It could easily be compared to, let's say it's my mom's birthday and I make a whole post being sappy, saying all these amazing things that she's done. But in the middle of my post, someone goes and said, well, actually, all moms are great. Okay. I didn't say she wasn't great. If your reason for saying that all lives matter is to be inclusive, then saying that Black Lives Matter would also be inclusive, instead of generalizing and saying, oh yeah, everybody's a human being, we love them. We all know that ain't true. What's also frustrating about this is when that is the argument, Black Lives Matter is often painted as a supremacist group. But realistically, Black Lives Matter should be all of humanity saying it, if all lives matter, right? And as soon as someone, a person of color, or even a white person advocating on our behalf tries to argue with someone who says all lives matter, they immediately poke holes into Black Lives Matter. Like, well, what about black on black crime and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to get into that in a second too. And to add on to that, the percentage of white on white crime and the percentage of black on black crime is pretty close in margin as far as percentages are concerned. So don't even bring that into the argument, because that's not fair. And the fact that we even say black on black crime is pretty annoying, considering the fact that we don't say white on white crime nearly as much as we pull out black on black. We don't say Indian on Indian crime. We don't say Chinese on Chinese crime. We just say crime. What? And my last point on that too is that you commit crime where you're comfortable. In most cases, most people aren't going to go to a whole nother area and demographic that they don't understand and commit a crime because they're uncomfortable. You need to be as comfortable as possible with what you're going to do in order to be successful, right? So bottom line, do not use that as a rebuttal to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is to highlight the fact that this system was not created for us. It was not created for any person of color. It wasn't. Let's be real. We were treated as property from day one, and we continue to be treated unjustly. And for my ladies, if you cramping and your insides hurt, your lady parts is screaming at you, and you say, ooh, I don't feel good, I feel like my uterus gonna fall out my body, and some other girl comes up to you and says, oh, well, I'm on my period too. That doesn't stop you from hurting. That don't stop your body from hurting. And while we were quarantined, almost everybody needed a haircut because the barbershop is still closed. But if I say I need a haircut, that don't mean everybody else don't need a haircut. It just means I personally need a freaking haircut. That doesn't mean anything about anybody else. I didn't say anything about y'all. I just know I need my haircut. And this goes well beyond the Black Lives Matter hashtag and the movement. It goes well beyond systematic racism. It's human beings being selfish and self-centered. If someone is going through something, someone is hurting so bad for so long, and they finally speak up, they say something, that is not the time for you to bring up personal situations. It is time for you to shut up and empathize.